Mindset Mashup podcast. Here we are with another 5 minutes with a former British champ, WBA international champ, and this guy is honestly, I've watched him. I've watched him box. I've listened to some of the interviews, and all I can say is that when it comes to mindset, I feel like this guy is going to provide a lot of value. He's gonna really come through with what he's learned, and ultimately just find out what does it take to have the mentality of a boxer, and that's what I'm trying to find out today. So without further, I don't even want to say much more. But listen, Craig, the Spider Richards, man, thank you for coming on the Mindset Mashup podcast. Appreciate you being here, man.
No problem, man. Honored to be on a podcast, and it's good to see what you're doing and inspiring and pushing people. So it's good to be a part of it.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. That's what it's all about. I mean, as a boxer, I'm sure you know this, but I think often people get a lot of respect and like well-deserved respect for the results that we see. So you've held a few titles, you're constantly working hard, and obviously you get the most reward, the most celebration when you win. But what you don't always get the reward for is what happens, what people don't see. And I'm a big believer of what we do in the unseen is more important than what people do see, you know. And when I've listened to a lot of your interviews, you've spoke a lot about defining moments of your life, tunnel vision, planning, reasons to get up, no excuses, and never wanting to quit. And I'm wondering, since you started boxing, I know you become pro in 2015, was it?
Yeah, that's correct. 2015, yeah.
And I just wondering.
You're a man who knows your stuff.
I've done my research, bro. I've done my research, and I've just been.
I love that.
Like, I'm just wondering, so like since you've been boxing, what's been one of your biggest mindset shifts?
To be honest, it's like you just set a goal and you got to understand that on your journey, it's not always going to be smooth. It's going to be rough, but as long as you got your vision, you got to keep pushing no matter what happens. You know you're going to get offset. You know you're going to have hurdles. You know you're going to have people trying to derail you. But as long as you know your aims, you just got to get up in the morning and keep pushing no matter what. And that's my mindset. No matter what happens, I know every day, whatever I got set out, I've got to tick that off, because otherwise I'm not going to achieve my goals. So you've always got to be your own cheerleader and your own motivation, because otherwise you can't get someone in a game like this to drag you through it. You got to be able to be self-motivated and keep pushing hard. You got to believe in the dream, stay focused, and just work hard and dedicate yourself to the cause.
And I know in previous interviews you spoke about sort of having a reason to sort of get up and never wanting to quit. So when you speak about sort of getting up from losses, not just sort of a loss and as a result, but just those days that you don't feel like it, what do you think sort of gets you back up and go, nah, do you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway?
Because you know your aims and objectives, you reap what you sow. So I know if I don't get up and do it, no one's going to do the work for me. And it's one of them jobs you can't hide, you can't cut corners, you'll get found out. When you get in that ring, you'll get found out. And it's a job that you got to work hard, because everyone's working hard, everyone's trying to work harder than the other, everyone's got the same aims and goals, loads of people. So what's going to make the difference is your hard work. And that's me. I just dedicate myself. Otherwise, I always said to myself, if I get into something like boxing, I wouldn't do it half-hearted. I'll give 110%, and at least when I finish and hang up the gloves, I know that was my ceiling. That's the best I could have done, but I ain't going to live with no regrets. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I ain't going to reach the aims and objectives and my goals without doing that.
100%. Well, that's definitely one of my values. I've sort of when my day comes, I want to know that I've done everything I can and not leave anything left. Do you know what I mean? I don't leave anything behind. I want to use up all the energy that I've got into this life, man. And
100%.
I can relate to that. So, this is a bit of a different question that I haven't asked before on the show. Who was the last person to inspire you, and why? Why did they inspire you?
Funny enough, the last person was actually a boxer, probably Floyd Mayweather. I watched him. I watched his dedication to the sport. I watched his 24/7s, how he trained, how he gave up alcohol, how he didn't drink. Even when he goes to the raves, the parties, he used to run home from the club. He's running stuff in the boot. And I just said to myself, if I go into the sport, I'm going to do the same thing. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink. Obviously, didn't smoke. And I dedicate myself all day to the gym. People know, obviously, I'm one of the hardest workers in the sport, if not one of the hardest workers in the sport. I work very hard, constantly, even out of camp. Sometimes I'm training harder than people train in camp. So I dedicate myself to this, and I kind of got the blueprint off the elite fighters, guys like Floyd Mayweather, the Andre Wards, etc. And I just see how they applied themselves to the sport, and I thought I'm going to do that and above and beyond.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I can definitely hear one of your values, just put in the work, just put it in.
Put that
And
work in.
yeah, I love it.
You
And
cut corners, you go around in circles.
yeah, you said something earlier as well, and I think in sort of any sort of like in sports, if you're not putting the work in, you will get found out. And I think entrepreneurship
Yeah,
nowadays is a bit of a buzzword, and everyone wants to be one. But I think it's the same in that game as well. If you want to just put on your
it is.
stories that you're working hard, it might look sexy to the audience, but you
Yeah,
will get found out if you're not putting in
yeah,
that
it looks
work.
good. You'll
Yeah,
get found out. And I
yeah,
think even we was talking about entrepreneurship the other day, where people look at entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and they say, I want that. But they don't understand what it took to build that. They don't understand when you're coming up, the pay or the work you got to put, the hours you got to put, the way you got to dedicate yourself to it before it could be years later till you reap the benefits. They just want to reap the benefits, but they're not willing to put in all the steps necessary before they get there. And I think everyone likes the results, but they don't like the work they got to put in for it. And that's why a lot of people quit. That's why only the strong survive. A lot get fizzled out.
100%, man. I think I heard a quote the other day which says exactly what you said. Everyone wants the reward, but they don't want the responsibility.
100%. That is
It's
what it is.
it
And I
is
talk to
simple.
fighters endlessly, and they always say, "Oh, bro, how do you keep motivated? How do you do this? How do you train? How do you keep strict on your diet?" It's like, you don't want it bad. If you're asking me these questions, you don't want it bad. Like, you don't want it. Just call it a day. You're questioning yourself. Just do something easier. There's a lot of easier things you can do in this thing. I remember some of the mornings Tony used to look at us. He say to me, "It's hard, this, isn't it?" You go, "Yeah." He goes, "A lot more easier things, isn't it?" You say, "Yeah." He goes, "That's why everyone don't do it, mate." And I said, "Yeah, that's it. If it was
Yeah.
easy, everyone would do it."
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And listen, Craig, I can't wait to chop up this episode, bro. There's so many clips in here that they're going to be used all over socials, man. So much gems. But look, Craig, look, you're now part of the 5 minute show, which is all about just basically interviewing UK, just amazing UK people. I think at the moment we're making some of the most influential movements across the world, whether that's in music, whether that's in sport, in business. And I really want to bring that home and interview as many UK celebrities as I possibly can, and understand about their journey so we can also understand their mindset. And I hope that you continue to watch this show. But for the next
Yes.
episode or a few episodes time, who would you like to see on the show, and hear me speak about their mindset?
Um, that's a good question. Very good question. Um, UK based.
Yes, yes, please.
uh, Maybe get my protege and Joe Cordina.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. No, that's good.
Get my protege.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
give him
that's
a nudge when I see him tomorrow. I'll tell
yeah,
him. I'll tell him that's his next project he's got to do.
yeah. I mean, it's 5 minutes. Listen, he can give me 5 minutes, bro. Do you know what I mean? He can give me 5 minutes. But look, um,
He
Craig,
can. He can.
Craig, man, it's been a pleasure. And for those that are listening, I'm going to drop all the Craig's Instagrams, YouTubes. If you're here to listen to Craig and new to me, go follow me on Instagram at Real Talk George. And listen, just keep an eye out for the next episodes because we're coming in with a heat this year. We went top 200 in the UK last year for entrepreneurship, nearly 100K in YouTube in just a year.
Jeez.
So yeah, look, we're
Come
coming
on.
for it. We're not escaping the work. We don't just want the reward. We want the responsibility too over
Come
here.
on.
So listen, for
Come
now,
on. We want a responsibility. We went to put the work in.
yeah, exactly. That's what we're here
Let them
for, man.
know.
Yeah, exactly, man. So, but I'm telling you, it's not all pretty. It's not all pretty though. Let's say that as well. These 5 minute
It's not.
episodes, they don't just take five
Yeah.
minutes. But yeah, listen, God bless you all and tune in next time. Let's go.